But I think it's good we talk about a little bit about enduring the tough shit the market is. Yeah. Well, I can put it like that. Fucking carnage. Yeah, definitely. Um, um, but honestly, it's well, like I said, it feels stretched out, especially if you're a spot holder, long term spot holder, which majority, of course, is in the Discord. Yeah, things might feel like doubt creeping in, thinking about, okay, is this ever going to turn around? But you gotta ask yourself some questions, right? The first one is, what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? And if you ask yourself, and not necessarily to point out that there is always a worst case scenario, but to point out the fact that you gotta be okay with the worst case scenario to be or to endure this ride a little bit less stressed. So, and I know some of you are way too overexposed in spots. I know some of you, well, took out loans 2024, I think, on the major top we had there. Not saying any of you in here, but I know of people who did. Um, and I think what you need to understand is, okay, if you then ask, okay, what's the worst case scenario? Yeah, I'll end up with nothing and I'll end up in debts. Um, um, so, yeah, ask yourself that question. Ask yourself. Well, partially LLC, I agree with what you say. Um, but there's also people who just DCA as well. I think the best way is, of course, to take into account where you are on the charts. Um, but theoretically, if we talk about DCA, of course, dollar cost averaging just means, okay, every Monday I buy a piece of this, regardless of price. Um, and that's of course something that stems from how how well people like buy stocks or S&P 500, whatever. Over time, you will always make profits, and regardless of where things are. But if you want to max out or take, well, the best, I agree. Um, if you're looking from a technical analysis perspective, if you do have the ability to do so, yeah, it's better to wait. Um, so there's both things you can do, right? You can DCA by just saying, okay, every Monday I buy 50 quid of something, or every month, payday I buy something. But of course, if you're in the trading game, watching the charts, being actively investing, yeah, then it's definitely the best way is to wait for levels. And surprise, surprise, we got all these traders in here that'll give you those levels. So make make use of that. Make use of that. And still chipping away is good. But for, well, best RR, of course, you should do that on the best levels. But again, some people will just chip away every week at some point. There's no right and wrong. And again, that's like with the whole trading business. As long as you can be profitable, there's no right and wrong. And again, and we, of course, we talk about that a lot of times. If you venture on the path or the adventure of trading and teaching yourself or following people to well, become a trader yourself, the fact that there can be 100,000 ways of trading and being profitable makes it like, well, harder than, and honestly harder than any education you can think of, because we have these, well, like I said, the different opinions, different views. We can look at candlesticks and we can agree on, yeah, open and close and high and lows. But then there's somebody who says, yeah, but I use other kind of candlesticks. There are different kind of candlesticks. So my open is different to yours. And if it works, it works. And I think that, again, is what makes this scene so hard, and what makes this understanding so hard. That, well, whether that's you or me or anybody else, we all can have different opinions on where we are on the chart, or what's a POI, or what's my POI, or what's my level that I like to, chip away on. So there is no one rule book that says if you do it like this, you will end up like this. Or if you do all these tests and you ace them, or you score enough on them, then you're a profitable trader. That's not how it works. That's how it works in our life, right? It's good to have a vision, Ryan. It's good to have a vision. We all gonna be single. Well, we'll do a coffee then if we all get single. But anyways. So yeah. So if we talk about that perspective, well, if we talk about the perspective of the market and well, what's your goal in being here? Yeah, we got to endure a lot. And it's, well, I think the turnaround will be even more epic, right? Once we get to that point. But yeah, anything, guys, anything you want to discuss today, or any questions you have for me? Because, well, else I'll just be talking like for hours if you want. Nah, I don't have time for hours, but you know how it goes. Let me scroll through the chat. But yeah, Dabs, DCAing is always good. It's always good. My mister doesn't have enough. Have you made money yet? Nothing. Not thoughts on the market. Well, it's shit, right? That's it. It's carnage. It's fucked. It's done. Yesterday, I did the last session of the Exit Plan course, and the title was "This is the End." Well, can put that on the market too, right? So this is the end, guys. Nah. I do still believe macroeconomic. We are at the best point right now, moving in, well, end of QT, so end of quantitative tightening, so more money becoming available. Morning Ox, probably going into quantitative easing at some point. Rate cuts. Yeah, it's time that this orange cunt starts putting out tweets on, well, all the things he spoke about with the Xi Jinping, well, China president. Anyways, so macroeconomics, I am absolutely positive. But if you look on a crypto level and you look at what's happening on chain, it's just like, yeah, if you look at like these market makers fighting Binance and Binance dumping the market, so it's absolutely terrible how manipulated it is. So yeah, basically I'm still positive about the market, and I think well, it's darkest before dawn, right? And if we talk about the space right now, what we see happening is that, well, people say it's over. We have never been manipulated like this before. But still, like if you look at macro charts, we're not bullish. We can be short term bearish. I'm sorry, what I meant, we're still bullish. We're not bearish. So short term can be bearish and could see lower. But for all we know is the bottom's in, right? And that's kind of hard because you are probably fueled by negative thoughts at this moment, the doubts that is it ever going to happen, especially if you staring at your portfolio like daily. Yeah, you will see things get obliterated, and you think, okay, yeah, is it really going to turn around? But then just look at like what the privacy coins did over the last couple of weeks. Like Dash doing a 30x, I think, out of nowhere. Like, yeah, 3 years downtrend wiped out. Again, I said this the other day, the 4-year cycle is still intact. Who says that it's broken? If the time didn't pass, how can a 4-year cycle be broken if the cycle is still in play? Time-wise, though, time-wise. Yeah, of course, if you zoom in, maybe it looks different. But honestly, a cycle is time-wise. So again, I will tell you this. The cycle top of 2017 Bitcoin was December 2017. The run on altcoins came Q1 2018. 4-year cycle, December 2017, December 21, December 25. So, that's just the game, man. That's the game. So honestly, if we discuss, and I'll keep saying that until March, probably March next year, cycle time-wise is still in play, and these talks about, yeah, but this cycle is different, and now we have ETFs. Yeah, but last cycle we had institutions, and the cycle before that we had there was another story why this time it would be different. So maybe. Yeah, I think in 6 months bear market starts. Maybe it's already started. Nah, joking. Yeah, well, you never know. You never know, guys. You're welcome, Dabs. You're welcome, Dabs. See you again soon. So now, I don't think the bear market already started. It was just jokes. B. But I do. Well, it's kind of hard to say where we're heading. So all you can hold on to is like macroeconomics lining up. No one indicator flashed top yet. So yeah, we just gotta keep enduring. We gotta keep moving forward, and well, if you can chip away. Yeah, and basically that's all we can do. And I cannot guarantee you that next week it's over, or that in 3 weeks it's over, and that we finally start the magnificent pump. You just gotta be ready for whenever it comes. And during that time, you either, enjoy life and focus on what matters. Morning, LJ. Good to see you again. Good to see you. Or you gotta just, I'm not sure. You gotta just. Well, if you want to learn trading, this is the time, right? Focus on trading. Focus on following signals. Focus on, doing everything besides staring at your portfolio. So again, come back to where I started with. What if worst case scenario happens? So what if worst case scenario? And we got to talk about this, because we got to talk about the negative side of it too. What if it never comes? Let's just say, just for an example, say, okay, this is it. The run's not gonna come. Now, what's the worst case? The worst case is you're stuck with some coins that used to be worth a lot and now are worth nothing or less. Might turn around someday, but for now they're not. So what you can do? You can sell those coins and take your losses and move on. Or you can just, stick at it and, worst case, you lose it all, right? You lose what you've invested. The question should be, uh, nah, but you got to be real. We got to be real with each other. I'm not saying this is what's happening. I'm saying this for the sake of your own emotions. I'm saying this for the sake of your own well-being, that you gotta ask yourself, okay, how or what would happen to me and to my life that I live right now if anything or nothing goes up. So yeah, I agree with you. If you do feel that you're overexposed and that you can't handle the loss if it would be a realized loss, then yeah, accept that fact. And I think that's a healthy way of looking at it. Um, I think a lot of us mess up our heads because we're focused too much. Um, yeah, but it's like, yeah, okay, the worst that can happen is the worst that can happen. Yeah, of course that is. Um, but the question is, LJ, if you are overexposed, and I know a lot of people in here are overexposed, the worst case, it happens, it gives you a lot of stress, gives you a lot of mental issues because people are overexposed. Yeah, and I can say, yeah, but yeah, we always taught you to, well, don't put in money that you can be, that you cannot stand to lose, or money that you need in your day-to-day life. Um, yeah, exactly, Ox. Exactly. And I think the question is, okay, let's, and I believe that even goes for people who put out loan or took out loans to invest and now are down. The question is, can you still live the life that you are living today if you lose this money? Um, so that's with investment, and maybe yeah, everybody got caught up by the positive feelings and overexposed themselves. Shit happens, but you got to take accountability for that, right? Got to take accountability and say, okay, yeah, I did this. Um, for now, it's not working yet. I still believe. Like I'm not negative here. I'm just saying we're not there yet, and I still believe 99.9% that we're going to see an epic run, and y'all are going to lose your heads. But at the same time, make it easier for you to handle this period in the market. And it becomes easier if you do not let all your life depend on what you're going to make. And I've talked about this in the exit plan course. I've talked about how how are you able to go through this without losing your head, and how are you going to plan your exit well. You have to ask yourself and talk about the question. This question is, what is enough for you? So go talk to your missus, even though she might be there, but you got to talk about, okay, what's enough for me in this life that I live right now? What's enough for me to either give me a good foundation going into the next run, or having that goal that I want to reach? Let's say that's having a decent trading account that you can make decent money off, and maybe and I'm not talking about, oh yeah, but I want to make generational wealth, so I'll put my coins or put my money into meme coins, so maybe I'll hit 1,000x. Now um, I'm talking about, okay, what's based on what I've invested and based on what my portfolio is today, what's the amount of money that if I would say today to you, okay, I'll give you this tomorrow, what's an amount that changes your life? And honestly, I don't believe that's much higher than 50K, 75K for a lot of people. Well, even 25K changes lives. But we also have to take into consideration that money and the amounts of money we talk about and we hear and we see around us impacts the way we see it. And I was listening to a podcast, I think I'm not sure what it was. I was listening to someone talk about the fact that in trading, money loses its value because let's say you trade and you make $75 on a trade, and we all want to aim for higher. Oh, we want to make $500. I'll buy a 50K funded account or 100K so I can trade with $1,000 risk and make $2,000 on one trade. But what we forget is that if you make $50 on a trade, $50, that's a lot of money for a lot of people. They have to work like a day for that. So no, I don't believe that, LJ. I don't. Well, not. I do believe the more money you have, more problems. So it will change your life. It will. I mean, try to figure out if you come into $1,000,000 tomorrow. I guarantee you it will drastically change your life in multiple ways. Not necessarily in who you are, but I still believe that it affects who you are and that you got to be well aware of what happens when that does. Yeah, money is time, and I think most of you know that my stance on it is why I came into this game, and what my goal is just to make some money so I can live. Well, that's a drastically change of life, right? That's, well, I'll buy you a ticket, man, Luke. If that changes your life, I'll buy you a ticket. Nah, but what I mean is that what I was saying before I got sidetracked by what you were saying. What I'm saying is that, like, we forget that making 50. Let's say if you make $50 extra a day, and of course there are days when you don't make $50 and when you lose them. But let's say, like, in the long run, you're 4 out of 5 days profitable in a week. You trade 5 times a week, whatever it is. So let's say you make 70, 80, or you make like 4 trades and you make like $200 a week extra. That would change a lot. That alone would change a lot of people's life. Now imagine you end up this bull run with 25K, right? As a trading account. So that's your goal. Let's say I started with 5K and my goal is to have a 20K or a 25K trading account, or even a 10K trading account and 10K money to just, well, reinvest or just go on holiday, whatever it is. So imagine trading with a 10K account, right? And then following signals in here and with all these traders that are here that are profitable most of the time. Market sucks right now, but in the long run, if you look back last year, we have been on average profitable month on month on month. And now that's, of course, if you follow every trade you can, but there is no way that you cannot be profitable if you have your risk in check and you follow trades and you take time to do so. Now imagine you having a 10K amount of money as 10K, and 10K is a lot of money. And you trade with that. Put that in a trading account and then you say, okay, I trade 1% risk, maybe 2% risk. 1% is $100. So you put $100 risk on a trade. Even if you make 10R a month, which honestly I do believe most of the months that's piece of piss in here by following the right traders. Of course you can have bad luck, but on average, let's say you can make 10R. That means you make 1K a month. Who wouldn't be happy making 1K extra a month by just following signals? Now, in no ways this is a guarantee, but it's just me painting the picture of what can happen with even smaller amounts. So you gotta ask yourself, would 10K change my life? For some it will, for some it won't. But I think for majority, 10K is a lot of money, right? And well, that's again what I said. I think we don't need to aim for those big numbers. I think majority of you guys are not even mentally ready to trade 50K or 100K accounts. Why? Because that's like, and especially if that's your own money, right? If you buy a funded account, think, yeah, okay, it's just gambling, it's my casino. If I blow the account, I'll buy a new one. But honestly, I think just as well, you have to, and that's why we say start small, because you have to teach and learn yourself to trade bigger amounts. Yeah, honestly, Luke, that's definitely crazy. Um, just imagine yourself getting a 1K pay raise, for example. Um, that would affect your life drastically in different ways. But the problem is, and then it comes to money mindset, and maybe we'll talk about that another time. But is that you usually move up the baseline. So now it's 1K, and then let's say if you make or you get a pay raise, it's usually not what happens, right? You work for a wage and then you get a pay raise, 200 or 300 pounds extra a month. That feels nice the first month and the second month still, but the third month, I've said it before, the third month your baseline just moves up and your expenditures just move up, and eventually, well, you're still broke at the end of the month. That's how a lot of people live. They live from paycheck to paycheck thinking, oh, if I would just make a little bit more money. But if you don't ask yourself, okay, how's my relationship with money? What's my relationship with money? How do I see money? Yeah, there's a whole world to discover. There's a whole world to discover in that sense. But that's something for another time. That's something for another time. So yeah, for now, like I said, we just need to hold on, and we need to, well, hopefully, well, we just gotta hope or gotta endure until market turns around. But again, there has been no transition from a bull market to a bear market without a euphoria phase. So all we can do is go off historical data, look back. We can say, yeah, okay, the cycle is different. Yeah, it's different, but time-wise, we're still not 8 years from 2 alt seasons ago. So that's 4-year cycle times 2. No, I won't do that now because I gotta go. And then, well, I can take a quick look at Bitcoin. Looked at it. Okay, yeah, it's at 102K. What's your question? Because, well, I can look at it, but what you want me to hear, it's bottomed. I don't know. At this moment, I just can tell you something. It made a double bottom at 98 overnight. Yeah, I like I said, I have to go right now, so I will do that next time. But I think Sherlock put out a nice update. I think he's he's long for a reason, right? So an even higher time frame. Let's see, weekly, daily. Yeah, we bounced at the level a lot of people said 99. We did, so we did miss this. They say this low here. I said I was looking at it, but yeah, we could still see this sweep. I think a lot of people are waiting for this sweep. That could be a reason why it doesn't, because if we don't sweep this, we front run it and then we move up. But honestly, looks kind of shit, right? So this could be the bearish retest here. 250 EMA. Can make it more, how do you say it? Can make it more exactly. But honestly, Chris, I cannot tell you anything other than there's a low below, and yeah, we either go up or we go down at the moment. That's basically, yeah, maybe not what you want to hear, but we either go up or we either go down 50%. No, it's not necessarily shit. It's not necessarily shit. I think lower time frames, there's but you gotta understand, and I think if you look at, like we say, if you look at privacy coins, what they did, like, yeah, that's what's going to happen at some point. You're going to see out of nothing market turning around. And just get your shit together and keep your shit together and try to be emotionally unobsessed with the charts, because it doesn't matter. We'll see how this weekly ends up, and then you go from weekly to weekly. If you want higher time frame, look at the weekly, wait till the weekly closes, and come back to it next week. I think we are too obsessed, and that just tells me, if that happens, that you are either overexposed or don't have an emotional control in being invested. It goes for everybody, right? It goes for everybody. Question yourself, okay, why am I staring at charts? Am I learning to trade, or am I looking for confirmations that are not there yet and not going to be there? Am I biased? Am I trying to talk myself, a little sense in myself, like saying, oh yeah, I'm looking for bullish signals. Oh, this is bullish. This is bullish. If that is the reason why you look at charts, stop doing that. If you're just invested and not trying to day trade or learning to trade, stop staring at charts, stop staring at your portfolio, and just come back to it when the tide turns. Because you will mess yourself up. There's a lot of people in here who are messing themselves up. I talk to them in the one-on-ones. I know what happens is people get obsessed because they're either overexposed or having too much to bank on. These pullbacks are part of the market, and you gotta endure it, and you gotta endure it in the most healthy way. So I would suggest that if you're not into day trading or actually trying to teach yourself, just follow Sherlock's updates on Bitcoin, follow the traders for signals, and stop looking for, I'm not sure what you gotta stop looking for. Just live your life, and when it turns, it turns, and when it comes, it comes. Yeah, you can do that. Of course. Yeah, stop looking for alt season. Stop looking for this is it. This is the moment. Nah, it comes when it comes. Just imagine yourself doing this for the next 3 months, and it still feels like this. Yeah, at this moment, well, a lot of people get flushed out, and I understand that, and I do understand that. But sometimes we just gotta say, okay, just stop this bullshit. Focus on your day-to-day life. Focus on learning how to trade if you want to, and yeah, we'll get there at some point. But that point can be next week, or that point can be in 3 months. What are you going to do to endure that? What are you going to do to make sure you don't lose your shit until we're at that point? Yeah, just DCA whenever you think, man. We can't, like, in hindsight we can say, oh yeah, I shouldn't have bought here, or in hindsight we say, yeah, I should have sold December 2024. Yeah, we should have sold NPCS when it went to 42 million, all those kind of things. But it's hindsight trading. This is not how it's going to work out, because when NPCS gets back to 42 million, everybody in here will be euphoric, say, oh, okay, this time we're going to 100 million. It's the same. So that's again why you need to have your plan, your enough plan. Make that plan, work on that plan, and stick to it. And don't feel that you're a cheat because eventually at 25 million you might sell a bunch of your NPCS, for example. If you get to a point where you're sitting on so much money that it will change your life, if you ask yourself today, yeah, don't let somebody else tell you not to sell. Eventually it's a game of buying and selling.